Hello and welcome back to Lab. If you're watching this video, you've probably already passed the beginning stage of AI coding. Most serious teams now run a Claude MD file or Agents MD cursor rules plan mode before execution of their coding process. Some people are running subagents even for a bigger projects. That stack gets you a long way for sure, but still there is a point where it stops being enough. I'll show you where it is. So this is a very typical Claude MD file that provided for a project called shopping cart. And this is not so long, but basically a normal Claude code MD will be very long during your development. So here you see it said always use the project's naming conversion as one code style rule. But sometimes when your projects scroll forward about 30 commits, the agent will probably ignore it for some time. That's not a bug, it's documented behavior. It's just violated the rules of the naming conversion. The reason is that the models deprioritize instructions they judge as might be relevant. And in a 300-line file, almost everything might be relevant to any given task. The second problem is the drift. The code evolved, the rules didn't. So the instruction file is now describing a system that hasn't existed for 3 weeks. And the agent reads it, trusts it, and builds on the top of something that isn't there. You can tighten the rules, shorter, more specific. That helps with the first two issues, but it doesn't touch the deeper one. None of these tools check whether what the agent build matches what you actually meant. So the plan mode gives you a plan. It doesn't confirm the plan was right. You can still end up with 400 lines of reasonable looking code that solve a slightly different problem than the one you had. So here I'm not telling you to drop your rules files. I still use mine. This is about the places that setup runs into a wall and a few small habits that take over from there. Basically, these are the methodologies that we use to develop projects by coding before the AI coding assistant exists. Let's build something real and go through it. The tools we use today is the skill set that's released by Matt Pocock, who has a very deep understanding of how a real project is being developed by real engineering, not just a vibe coding easily. So a quick word on why this and not a full system like SpecKit or BMAD, GSD, that those tend to own your whole workflow. So when something breaks inside them, you end up debugging their system inside of yours. These are the opposite in this project. Each skill in this project is a short markdown file. You trigger it only when you need it. Okay, here is a grill with docs like prototype, skills, and to issues, to PRD. Okay, so if one doesn't fit how your work, you open it and rewrite it, or just ignore it. That's the whole design concept of this engineering skill set. I'm going to test it in actual projects in Cursor because for this project, Matt provides you the way to easily install by npx into your Claude Code environment. So I will show you a way that is more general to most of the AI coding tools that you might use every day. I will show you the example today in Cursor. So here is the empty project for the shopping cart. You might think that shopping cart project today is a very simple implementation by vibe coding. Just one prompt and you will have the entire application working in just a couple of minutes or mostly 1 hour, right? But when you see what I do in this project by using the skills that Matt shared, you will feel more comfortable than before when this project is growing to expect the actual release. So here you will see that I change the model to auto. Even I use the auto options, which you might not prefer to use, it still can generate a very stable and high quality code with this engineering process. So firstly, let me copy paste the prompt that I use to clone the Matt Pocock skills repository to attempt DIL and read from here and insert the repository so you understand each skill and the sibling files. Firstly, let the AI to download the skills and understand it, and then install this as a reusable on-command prompts using the whatever mechanism this version of Cursor supports. We don't have to care about what's the new version of the Cursor, how it set up its rules or other skills in this IDE, just to let the agent to find it by itself. And then the rest of things is just also to set up the configuration and the folders that we defined to initiate the shopping cart projects. Okay, so let's start. So you will see the agent is now creating the skills into the cursor's environment. And this is asking me to approve the remove of this repository. So it's finally finished. You see that the agent used the cursor agent skills to set up this project skills. Now we can trigger these skills by using the slash command. Here you see there are 11 skills has been installed, including the grill with dogs and triangle and the other things that I will demonstrate most of them to let you feel how serious this skills is doing project development. Okay, this is the project folder. Currently there's only docs folder set up and almost nothing there, which need to create with the agent one by one for the real coding of this project. So firstly, I will use, you will see we will have the grow with docs command. And the idea is instead of describing the shopping cart to the agent, I'm going to have the agent interview me to make sure the agent have all the ideas and concepts ready. So I will say a pure logic shopping cart, which can add, apply coupons and calculate totals. The first question is coming. The question 1, what is the atomic unit you add to the cart? You said add remove items. That could mean A, B, C, align items, a product reference only, something else. So besides the question, it's also give the recommendation of the answer that help you to think of the product instead of from a blank prompt of requirements, which is a lot easier for the developer, for us. So I will say A. Okay, you will see that record that decision in context MD. Let's see the context MD. Here it record the language and terms that's in this project. Sometimes the cart, the line item has different view in different projects. So it has a very serious definition of each terminology in this project by checking with you one by one. Now the second question is coming. What does the remove do? A recommendation is C, that both, which means it can decrement quantity of the items or it can remove all of the items. So that's fair. Sometimes we will miss the decrement option. So I will agree with C. And during its generation, you will see that the language of this shopping cart is expanded. Okay, the new one's coming. How do we represent money? Okay, its recommendation is 1, that integer minor units amounts in cents. That makes sense. So that's our choice. So these are the process that fix the drift problem from the opening. It's not a 400-line rule book that the agent schemes and forgets. It's a small living vocabulary that the agent helped write, so it actually gets used in the work. What can a coupon do? You said apply coupons. That branches a few ways. That's very true. When I say coupon, a lot of ideas and requirements for a coupon. So here the A is 1 coupon per cart. That is quite simple and straightforward. I accept that. And in the future, like his recommendation, in the future we can expand for more complex coupon. But now we just use one coupon per cat. Now you see the coupon is adding to the vocabulary with a detailed definition that we have confirmed. Now we have more questions to going forward, so I will go. Okay, so finally the first step has been done. You will see that there are 14 questions being answered. Most of them are very detailed requirements that I never figured out on the beginning of the project, like how to remove the items when the product isn't in the cart, and what type of the framework you want to use to design your projects, and what coupon value are valid, the percentage of or the fix of. After all the questions being answered, the agent will automatically switch to summary and give you an ADR offer. ADR means architectural design record. It said money as integer minor units fits an ADR. It's hard to reverse, non-obvious to readers, use the floats, real trade-off vs decimals. So it asks want me to add a documentation of the ADR into the system. I would say yes, add the ADR. Meanwhile, you will see our context file has been grown larger, but not super large, right? It just records all the necessary glossaries and decision logs into it by summarizing the answers that I give. Every detail, every corner has been recorded. And you will see there is money as minor units MD file has been created, which is one of our ADR. It's very simple, but it's very critical to be aligned and being stable during the entire development life cycle. Okay, now it said the ADR adding has been complete. When you're ready to build, now the other two command is ready to be the next steps. I will choose none of them. Before that, I want to create the PRD file, because the PRD is really a plan that we want carefully hand off. Let's use slash to PRD and just simply said create PRD. Okay, it will not asking any questions anymore because we already provided, just it used the existing documentation to synthesizing the PRD. Okay, the PRD has been completed. Let's see, it's in the Scratch PRD. It gives you the problem statement, the solution, summary, and the user stories, very detailedly listed, and implementation decisions that is collected from the context MD. And which is very important here is the out of scope section. It wrote down what we are not building is how you stop the agent from adding things you never asked for. Okay, it's the boundary of our projects to make sure the agent never cross the line and waste of the time and tokens and make the project a mess. Okay, so next one, I agree that we should use the two issues to split into the vertical slices of the entire project. So we just call the two issues. Go for the vertical slices. This is one idea I've taken even if you skip anything else, which is the vertical slices. Each ticket cuts top to down through the whole thing, which are the logic, the calculation, the test as one thing piece you can actually run. So we read the PRD first. You see that it starts to make a slice from the PRD. All the slice requirements, decisions, designs will be in the issues folder. After that, you see the agent creates 7 different slices that covers multiple stories as a group. and it lists the dependency order, gives you idea which you should done first and which you can step away for a while. If we want to look at these files, you can see that the content is very straightforward to tell the agent what to build and what the criteria is. It's the relationship to other slices. Okay, now we are going to the actual code writing step, which is called TDD, the test-driven development with red-green refactor steps. We will design the code one slice to another from the issues that we created. The native version of the vibe coding will write all the tests first and then all the code. It feels efficient, but there's a trap because those tests describe what the agent imagined the code would do, not what it actually does. They pass while the behavior is broken, right? You get green check marks that aren't tell you to choose. So here, let's see what this TDD behavior. Let's just start. So here you can see the concept of the greenfield repository that implemented issue 01 with a tracy bullet, one test, minimum code, then expand to the full acceptance. So here you can see the cut test TS is doing that job. So here it said red confirmed implementing minimal code to go green. So very carefully to handle the red status. Now it's doing the test again to expect the green. And after this green, add one more test, then refactor types for the next slice. So here you see the issue 01, which, what is the issue 01? Let's see. It's a scaffold empty cart. The two tests has been approved green, and the whole function of this issues has been implemented based on that. Now it recommends me to go to the next slice, which is the add and a subtotal feature. So I will say go. Now after the 7 rounds of the red-green refactor cycles, the entire backend logics have been implemented that strictly follow the PRD, and we can run the npm test anytime to verify. So I don't want to waste the time here to verify again. I just want to do the next phase. Okay, the next step is to have something like UI to help us to use these backend logics of shopping cart. We'll still use the slash command in cursor. This time we will run the prototype build, just what we said. Yeah, reverse. Okay, the prototype has been built. It used the terminal UI TUI instead of the web UI to save the time of building, accelerate the speed of verification. So here it gives key command to control the shopping cart. So let's run the command npm run prototype cart. Very quick, and we will see there's a cart summary, subtotal, discount, and total, and line items, and it provides 3 different items that we can choose. And the coupon is 2 different type of coupon. One is the fixed off of $5 reduce, and the other is applying a percentage of 50%. So the 2 coupon has been defined. Let's see how it works. Okay, so firstly we choose the items 1. Yeah, this is a widget, $10, and apply a percentage of 50%. Okay, P, we use the P, and the total calculation is right? It's reduced 50%. So we will make sure the half-up rounding calculation of the digitals are good. Let's clear the cart and add the number 3 items, which is $10.01. And what is the subtotal after its coupon by 15%? So we add P, and the final price is $8.51. So which is what we expected. Okay, and you can choose number 2. Yeah, I don't want add add the items into the cart, just clear. And 2, I buy a gadget with $1.50 and I want to apply a fix of $5 to see whether it will be a negative ones or some strange things happen. F, okay, fix of coupon with $5, but actually we will pay 0 and it's calculated correctly. Even the items is cheaper than the coupon, it just discount for total amount of money, but never make any strange output in this case. Okay, so it seems that our project is complete. We still need the agent to do a troubleshooting and issue fixing when we really put the entire project into the testing. And also we need to maintain the project when it's growing up. So I want to introduce the diagnosis skills in this skill set to help you understand how is the skill frame help the agent to do a standardized diagnosis. Before that, we need to manually create some issues. If you remember that if we used a fixed coupon like $5 coupon, when the product is only 2.5, which is cheaper than this coupon, final price will be 0 instead of the negative 1, right? Because here it returns using the min function to decide between the coupon amount or the subtotal, which is the minimum price. If it's minimum, it will always use the minimum price as a fixed coupon to make sure there will be no negative result when the price of the product is less than the coupon price. I will change to simply return the coupon amount. Okay, if I doing that, you can imagine that will have a negative price, right? We can test that, run it again, and I add the number 2 items, which is only $2.50, and apply a fixed of $5 coupon. F, and the price you see that is a minus, that is a negative number, right? It's minus 2.50. And now for this issue, I will still use the skill to ask the agent to fix to make sure it still follow our frame of this engineering work. So here I will type the command diagnose for disciplined diagnosis loop for hard bugs and performance issues. So here I will say I found the price is negative when I apply the coupon that is higher price than. So you see it's very strictly followed the skill process that will build a failing test first to reproduce the issue. And it gives the diagnosis process that leads it to find the root cause here, right? It finds the fixed branch has the comment out, so it has been fixed. So this is a very simple issue, so there's no much steps for it. But basically for hard bugs, it will not lock onto the first idea. It will give 3 to 5 ranked guesses, and each one you can actually test. The most uncomfortable thing about AI coding is that it produces math at the same speed it produced features. This complexity piles up just as fast as the output. So every few days I run this command to help me sort out the architecture and keep it maintainable. This command is improve codebase architecture. You can see the description that find deepening opportunities in the codebase informed by the domain language in context MD and decisions in ADR used when the users want to improve the architecture, find refactoring opportunities, and consolidate tightly coupled modules. If you feel very uncomfortable about the performance and architectural or framework issues during your project development, it's good to run the improve codebase architecture to improve what's going on here. So let's see its process. Yeah, so it generates a HTML page that review your architecture. You will see the summary is very straightforward. For deepen the pricing module, which is strong, so it lists the deepen opportunity in this architecture, including the price module, which is strong, recommended to deepen, and collapse line items mutation, and the other two items that's speculative of the deepening. So it also gives the top recommendation about deepen the price module, because the recent negative total bugs that we created manually for the agent, it feels that is the direct evidence that the discount invariants leak when coupon validation and money mass is on the separate internal seams. So this is coming from the entire process to alert you that you should take a deep research of your project, of the architecture. Back to the agent, that it will ask you whether candidates listed it's explored. Do we want to explore? So if we choose one, it will go deeper about the architecture improvement opportunities. So it's very, very useful when your project is going expanded and initiated by several, prompted by several different engineers. One command of this improved code-based architecture will sort out the mess and give you a clean review of the code base. Okay, so it starts to improvement, we will let it go. Okay, those are the skills that's very useful during your normal AI coding development every day. Thanks to the author Matt, who can share those useful skills, and it's keeping updated. So I think it's worth to explore by all of you if you want to build something real. So let me be straight about what this is and isn't. Okay, this is very slow for sure. You can see build such a easy shopping cart will take me around like hours and make me think a lot. It's slower than vibe coding on the first day. If you need a throwaway prototype for a pitch tomorrow, just vibe coding it. None of this applies. The glossary, the tests, they only start paying off when the things has been survived real users and you are still working on it 3 months later. It will help you to do that. That's all for today. If you have further questions or ideas, please drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.